Is my compressed air dry enough to spray automotive paint with? Ask that question on a Facebook group or different forums somewhere on the internet, and you're going to get a ton of different answers. And more than likely you're going to get somebody that says, well, you need at least 50 feet of this and a Rube Goldberg copper piece of artwork on the wall, or you won't get good results. And that may be true, but it really depends on where you live. Climate is incredibly important when we talk about moisture in compressed air.
So it's worth taking just a minute to talk about humidity, in the climate and different areas of the United States. So here's a map showing the mean or the average dew point across the United States. So dew point is the real measurement of how much moisture is in the air. Your typical weather app on your phone or whatever is going to talk about relative humidity. That's not an accurate measure. I don't want to geek out too much and get into why that is or why they chose that system. The number you need to know is dew point. And looking at this map, you can see, I'm over on the West Coast, northern Washington, northwestern Washington. You can see it's a light yellow. And so our average dew point is 52 to 55 degrees. And if you look, down on the Gulf Coast, it's bright red, and it's saying the average humidity is 71 to 75 degrees. So dew point is it's an absolute measure of how much moisture is in the air, and it's the temperature at which the air becomes fully saturated and then water condenses. And just for fun, let's look at Seattle versus Houston. And you can see, today, July 16th, 2026. Seattle, I'm close to Seattle, right? It says our relative humidity is high at 92%, but our dew point is 55 degrees. And then if we look at Houston, it says the relative humidity is moderate at 53%. But if you look at the dew point for Houston, it's at 73 degrees. So it's confusing, and most weather apps will show you the dew point, but you got to scroll down into the details. That's the number you need, because that's how much moisture is in the air. So for me, near Seattle today, I can go shoot, and I'm going to get very, very little water out of compressed air. But if you're in Houston, you're going to get a lot. So location and climate absolutely matter when we're talking about moisture in the air. That's the point, without geeking out too much here.
And I'm going to show you how to do a quick test right after this message from our sponsor.
Black Diamond professional grade sanding blocks. They're both flexible and adjustable with a ergonomic rubber handle, a polycarbonate base that gets things really flat, and rods you can put in to adjust the thickness. So whether you're shaping filler, blocking down primer, or doing your final cut buff color correction, Black Diamond blocks are the tool to help you get professional, outstanding results faster, easier, and better. BlackDiamondBlocks.com.
Okay, here's the super complicated tools you need to do this test. Little air nozzle and a handheld mirror. Because what we're going to discover, what we're going to test is, do we have a problem based on where we live and where we are painting and the system, the air compressor and whatever filters we have currently installed? Because we can answer the question really quickly. Is there a problem, or is there not a problem? Because what we're going to do is hook up an air hose. We're going to shoot air against the mirror. And if there's moisture or oil on the mirror, we got a problem. We got to solve it. If we shoot air on there and it's clean, we don't have a problem. We can go paint. So I'm going to show this. So I'm in Olympia, Washington, West Coast. And we have relatively dry air. but there's some humidity, and so I need a little bit of remediation. So I'll show you my results, which is before and after my filtration system, and how you can interpret that in your shop with your equipment. So here's my setup. I've got a Ingersoll Rand 60-gallon, 5-horse, 2-stage, 240-volt. I've got the air coming in from the outside, and you can see I've got PEX, 3/4 inch PEX, running along the wall of the shop. I've got a leg going over here that I use for my air tools. And if you can see it behind that post, there's a crappy little Harbor Freight, just a little water separator. But the other leg goes over to Aero 5-stage filtration system with desiccant filter. All right, so here's the hand mirror. I'm going to take my air nozzle, which is just coming through the crappy Harbor Freight deal. And you just need like 30 seconds. Just, put it a few inches off there and pull the trigger.
So I moved it over to better light where you can see it and took a picture, but you can see there's moisture and even worse, there's oil on the mirror after I did the test. So that's unacceptable. I can't spray paint with moisture coming out of the gun, and certainly with oil coming out of the gun. But that's the whole point of the test, is to find out, hey, is there a problem that I have to fix here? And in this case, there was. And, I came up with a fix appropriate for my situation.
So the next step will be to do the same test with the air nozzle hooked up to my Flexzilla hose, which is coming through the Aero 5-stage with the desiccant filter. Right? And all I have to do is pull the trigger and hold the mirror. And I do that for 30 seconds, and I've already done it. It's crystal clear. There's no issue at all. So for me in Olympia, Washington, with the equipment I have, I'm good to go. I've got the Aero 5-stage with a 2-quart desiccant. There is some moisture in the air, and there's also some oil in the unfiltered air. And regardless of moisture, you got to get the oil out. You need a coalescing filter to do that. So if you're in Colorado Springs and the air is totally dry, you may not need any moisture control, but you need a coalescing filter to get the oil out, because most compressors that we're going to paint with, it's a piston ring system with a crankcase with oil. Some oil is going to blow by, it's going to come out. And it's a good idea to keep a dedicated hose after the filter, no oil in it whatsoever. For this hose, I run my DA, my other air tools. Little oil won't hurt a thing, and I don't want to saturate the desiccant any more than I need to. That's for paint. But as a quick test, do you have a problem? Before we start solving the problem, let's see if there is a problem. And then I have future videos that will talk about, well, if you do have a problem, what can you do about it? All right, thanks.